So, you know what really grinds my gears? People who think just because they like something, it should be immune to criticism. Now, when it comes to YouTube, I'm just a grain of salt in the ocean, and I do this as more of a hobby, but this is something I feel like needs to be said. I actually talked about it a little bit in my We're All Gamers video that I did like towards the end of 2020. I upload weekly, but it's something I feel like this just needs to be said. It needs to be brought up again, put out there. It's like I feel like it's a problem in the entertainment industry that people think, fanatics mostly, like when they love something, they're like obsessed with something. It's like nope, can't be criticized. Like it's like, or it's like people will like label it as like oh, you're just a hater, you're a bully, or whatever, and it's like, but I mean, there are things I like that people criticize or make fun of. I don't care, but let me give you like 3 examples, because it's like with it's with, like I said, it's the entertainment industry as a whole, whether it's video games, movies, TV shows, celebrities, YouTube, or whatever. I'm going to give like 3 examples. The first one has to do with video games, specifically the Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, there was with these games, the Sword and Shield games, there was a controversy that started over the summer of 2019. It's still there a bit, like it's died down quite a bit over time, but it's still kind of there. Long story short, obviously there's like reviews and docudramas out there if you want to know the whole story, but basically what it was over the summer of 2019, Game Freak, the developers of the games, said, or stated, I should say, that they were cutting content from the games, and the reason they gave was to focus on other features. And then with some of the trailers, the features that they said that they were cutting content for was, well, underwhelming. And having actually played the games, I can personally agree that they are kind of, like, some of these features are pretty lacking. And, then toward the end of 2019, they announced DLC, where they were selling back to you some of this content, along with some other goodies and things to explore and shit like that. But, yeah, this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, which I'll admit, like, there are people who overreacted. Like, some people did take it too far. Like, I mean, there was people, like, sending the companies, like, Game Freak and the Pokemon industry, like, death threats, which, that's way too far. That's the line. And then there were people trying to, like, start a petition to keep the games from selling, which, that's just ridiculous. But, I mean, if you want to boycott and criticize the games, that's perfectly fine, but it's like you're basically saying, like, oh, other people can't enjoy it, like, or be excited for it. But, and that's the thing I want to, say, I never pick sides for anything. I'm always, like, neutral. Like, I kind of look at something from both sides of the fence. Like, okay, some of the people on this side have good points, and some of the people on this side have good points. So, with the Sword and Shield games, like, well, I only played one. I played Sword because, if you're unfamiliar with Pokemon, they always come in, like, set in pairs, where the games are pretty much identical, except for, like, a few exclusive Pokemon and a few other things, but other than that, the games are basically identical. So, with Sword, like, I thought it was a fun game, good experience, fun experience and all that, but it did have flaws, which I will point them out, but I'm not going to do it right now, because that'll take up too much time. But here's the thing. Not talking about the people who just, like, what like I said, took it too far. There are people who, because these games are highly successful, I think they've sold like 40 million copies, give or take. They're very well done, very well selling, I mean. And so, the thing is, because these games are selling, where was I going with this? Oh, I just lost my train of thought, sorry. Because of these games, oh yeah, I've seen people give these games good constructive criticism. Like, they'll go very deep into details, like pointing out the flaws and stuff. Like, like I said, it's very well thought out. Like, they really get into it, so to speak. Like, talk about, like, they won't just say, like, oh, the game sucks, period. But it's like, no, they'll, like, go into detail. Like, the story, like, wasn't that good. It was, like, and then they'll, like, kind of expand upon it or something. Like, just an example. There's obviously other things that people didn't like about the game. Actually, that was one of the things I wasn't too crazy about, was the story. But, like I said, these people, I know I sound like a broken record, but they go so deep into detail, and then people just kind of brush it off, like, nah, you're just being entitled, you're just bullying the company, or just a hater, or whatever. And, one thing I've seen, something like somebody had said was that, it's like the Sonic movie, bully them until they change it. It's like, first of all, the Sonic movie, the trailer was a fucking mess. So, and, just the look of Sonic alone was, awful. And so, people criticize the company, and so it's the production company, the movie, whatever, whoever the hell it was, I've drawn a blank on it, but, and it was the thing was, the reason people were upset about that was, well, people who play, the main people who are going to see the Sonic movie are people who played the games, or majority of people who see the movies are going to be the ones who played the games, so it's whether it was kids who have played the recent Sonic games, or adults who played, the Sonic on Genesis, or people who do both, or whatever the case may be. And so, they looked at Sonic in the trailer and just what the hell is that? So they criticized it. He's alright, I get it, we'll fix it. So that's what happened there. It wasn't that they bullied the company until they changed it. No, they were unhappy. As consumers, people were upset with it, and they let them know. Now, the next one has to do with TV shows, specifically Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the latest animated incarnation. Or, well, it came out in, I think, 2018 maybe. And now, as I'm a long-term Ninja Turtles fan, obviously, my favorite will always be the 87 one, but I'll admit, I'm not afraid to, I'll come out and say, it's, as much as I love that series, it's not the masterpiece that I remember from when I was a kid, so it's people criticize that or make fun of it, whatever. I even do it myself. I'll watch it and I'll just be oh, and then I'll I enjoy watching it, but I'll just be oh, and then I'll just make fun of things about it and stuff. But I know I sound like a walking contradiction, but and that was the thing, with Rise. It was so Rise, I actually gave it a chance, and it was so the animation is very good, but everything else, the art style, the character, personalities, and the stories are just bleh. And that's the thing, I feel it almost felt like a step backwards, which a lot of people were saying, and I personally agree, because it was see, the 87 series was goofy with all these puns and everything. Then you had the 2003 series, which was more graphic and darker toned and deeper theme stuff. Then you had the 2012 series, which personally I think that one is the best, because it had the perfect combination of elements from the 87 and 2003 series. Then you have Rise, which is the 87 series on crack. And I know probably the most common argument with this is oh, well, it's meant for kids, it's not for adults. Well, like I mentioned in my Nickelodeon video I did a couple of months ago, just because something is aimed at kids doesn't mean adults can't enjoy it. I mean, there's shows that come out nowadays that are aimed at kids that I actually kind of like The Loud House, which has been around on Nickelodeon for a few years now. I actually think it's a pretty good show. Nicktoon, that is. But with Rise, people, and a funny thing is that, speaking of the kid show argument, even kids didn't like the show, because all the signs are there. There's no news of a third season. There's supposed to be a movie on Netflix, but I feel after that, maybe a year or two down the road, the show will just fade into obscurity. But couple of the big things is, one, mainly three things where I feel yeah, this show is clearly a flop, is one, I just forgot. Skip that one, I'll get back to it. Oh, no, wait, I just remembered. So, one, the show went from Saturday mornings on Nickelodeon's regular network to Friday nights on their Nicktoons network. And this is something Nickelodeon is well known, notoriously for doing it with shows that aren't doing well or have low ratings. Two, the toys were not selling. Like, I went into Walmart, Target, and within months, the toys were on clearance. Out of all the different toy lines based off of Ninja Turtles animated series, over the years, like, throughout the 90s and 2000s, 2010s, I've never seen Ninja Turtle toys that were based on animated series. I've never seen them go on clearance that fast before. And what also was funny was that, obviously there's, like, online shopping and stuff, but, you know what toys weren't on clearance in these Targets and Walmarts I went into? WWE, Fortnite, Pokemon, Transformers, Marvel. I keep going, but those are things that kids like, and the toys weren't on clearance. Those are obviously selling, but the Ninja Turtle ones aren't. And the third reason, I've heard countless parents, including ones I know personally, say that even their kids didn't like the show. So it's funny, it's like people get so defensive, fanatics mostly get so defensive of the show, and it's funny when they use like, oh, it's a kid's show. It's like, well, you're clearly not a kid. Why are you watching it? And, a good example is, I know not everyone likes Facebook, which I perfectly understand that. I follow the Ninja Turtles page on Facebook, and where was I going with this? They'll post things from the whole franchise, from the TV shows to the comics, which obviously that's what it originated from, and it's still ongoing. It's the Ninja Turtles comics, but TV shows, comics, movies, games, toys, etc. And whenever they post something about Rise, there would be all these angry reactions. I personally don't take the time to do that because it's like, what's the point? I might criticize it here and there, like I'll point out flaws or whatever. Like I said, I'm like, not a fan. People like it, hey, that's fine. If you like it, whatever. It's no skin off my nose. But it's like it would have angry reactions on it and stuff, or people like make fun of it or something. It's fanatics are like, oh, you're just a hater. And it's like, I don't want angry reactions on here. And it's like, why? They have, you can like it, that's fine, but people can also dislike it. It's like, why do you think it should be immune to criticism? Like, and it, it's like, just accept the fact that the show is a flop. Like, it's a failure. I mean, for case in point, I love the Wii U. I think it's a great console, but I still accept the fact that it was a failure. Like, and if people make fun of it or like talk shit about it, say it's terrible, whatever. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. The last one has to do with YouTube, which I'm not going to put any names out there, but when you have like a big YouTuber, semi-big YouTuber who, let's say they do a review of a game, like whether it be old or new or whatever, and they leave something out, like they make a mistake or get something inaccurate or something, and somebody points it out, and people are like, nope, this person is a genius, they know what they're talking about, they make zero mistakes, don't criticize them, blah, 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 blah. Or it's like, if, say, a YouTuber seems off, like they're not mentally well, and a lot of people realize, a lot of their viewers realize this, and they're like, bring it up in their videos, like, or they mention it in the comment section, I should say, and it's like, like saying things like, oh, like, you're not well, please get help, like things like that, and people are like, oh, stop bullying them, stop bullying. It's like, how is caring for somebody's self-being bullying? But whatever, that's fanatics for you. So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to get out there, that, like, people, I wish they would stop brushing off criticism and labeling it as something else, like bullying and hating, because the thing, like, I'll just end with this. Criticism may not always be pleasant, but it is necessary because it helps people and companies to improve. So, thanks for listening to all that, and I hope you all have a nice day, and thanks for watching.